Hello and welcome back to the podcast. It is episode 142 and I am Ian and I'm joined by my lovely wife. You can introduce yourself.
Rude. I'm Carrie. It's weird.
Thought mix it up a bit, you know.
Thanks for letting me know that in advance.
Like to keep it fresh.
Yeah, sure. Okay, what are we talking about, Ian?
So, last week we talked about the anticipation and hype for Bricktastic. So this week, obviously, is about something completely different, I guess.
No, it's how was Bricktastic?
How was Bricktastic?
And I've had a quick listen back to last year's Bricktastic podcast as well to see kind of what kind of mood we're in after that and just how it compares. But let's first start with this year's.
Okay. So...
Did you have a nice time?
I did have a nice time.
Me too.
The journey up was slightly less traumatic than last year.
Definitely. We made sure to actually pack a bit more the night before, I'd say, and be ready to go quicker. Yes. I think we were like a whole hour and a half earlier leaving, maybe just an hour, I don't know.
I think about an hour earlier leaving.
It made a difference. We still hit traffic.
Yeah, took us 5.5 hours to get up there without stopping, as opposed to, I think, 7 hours last time.
Yeah, we got there for daylight and we did not stop at all. So I think that was a big help. Not to our bladders, but also, you know.
But as you get to the convention, or just before you get to the convention centre, you seem to be stuck behind multiple red lights.
Yeah.
Just going,
well, it's city traffic.
Just need a loo. Yeah. Go green.
Yeah. We made it.
Yes.
We did not have any accidents.
We didn't have any accidents. Journey back was looking good. It was an estimated 3.5 hours. We decided we couldn't cope without stopping for food. We stopped for food at the worst service station ever.
Oh, the service station was ridiculous. It was like essentially closed, completely closed. Yeah. Like
all they had open was the W.H. Smiths with their rubbish selection of sandwiches.
Yeah, because you don't like mayo, so there was not. Ian had a little Lunchable. It was like really quite cute. I've never seen someone make quite as tall a Lunchable tower as you did, though. Like you couldn't get it in your face. Yeah, it was quite hilarious to watch. But yeah, that was fun. Mm. But then we hit an accident, and essentially
we didn't hit an accident. An accident happened.
We didn't hit. Okay.
A few cars ahead of us.
We approached an accident and went standstill 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was that bad because I had a little nap.
You snoozed.
Which I think was probably best because I was struggling to stay awake at that point. So. But it just meant that the next day... I think the next day was going to be a write-off anyway because it's such a big convention. It's a lot of standing, walking, like engaging with people. Yeah. And so you're going to be tired afterwards. But having only 4 hours sleep before I had to get out for work was not ideal.
Yeah. Getting home at 1:30 instead of 11:30 is quite a big difference.
Yeah. But that's not Bricktastic.
No.
It puts a little bit of a dampener on it. But I'd do it again, so it's fine. I think I'd forgotten that last year's Bricktastic was our second show ever that we were displaying at. Right. And therefore, we've got like 8 more shows under our belt now. And it just feels a lot less stressful. We have quite a group of friends who were displaying for the first time though. And they definitely seem to have a few issues with communication and worrying about like... are we annoying the organisers kind of thing. So I think there's still an element of not knowing the people involved for newbies, which is what we discussed last year on the podcast. Yeah. But I certainly wasn't in any way worried at any point, and I knew what to expect. So I think it does come with time. And like we mentioned last time that there wasn't a pep talk before the show. Kev did a pep talk. He's like... I'm going to do this for you. Like, it's nice to see that the feedback is taken on board. His pep talk was hilarious because it was like, have I annoyed you? Well, sorry, but, you know, probably deserved it. Now get on and do the show. It was still very Kev style. Yes. But it's one of the most stressful weekends for him probably of the year. So it's a lot. And that's just his humour. I think it's fine.
Yes. I'm wondering if You almost want like a buddy system.
Yeah, that's what I think I mentioned last year, having a newbie buddy. And like we would provide some of the information to our friends. Like we had a little group chat. They asked a question, we'd answer it. And when you've only got 2 people organising a show, you kind of need that kind of thing to be happening, because otherwise they're fielding so many questions. They've got the Facebook group and you can answer the questions there. Sometimes I think they need to explicitly say what's not happening, as opposed to let's not mention something and hope that people know that it's not happening because of that.
Yeah, if something has changed from the previous one.
I mean, specifically the point we're talking about here is breakfast, because the breakfast last year was really nice, but the breakfast was attached to the fact that we'd booked into a hotel through Bricktastic. So that was our breakfast from that. And so because there was no hotel bookings through that this year, I think they assumed we'd just know there was no breakfast.
But we did know there was no breakfast. So surely someone must have said something at some point.
Yeah. Did we know? We assumed there wasn't, because...
I'm fairly confident we knew.
Oh, well, I think this was after it had been mentioned. Oh, no one's mentioned the breakfast. That like, I don't know why you lot think there's a breakfast.
No, I knew ages ago.
Oh, okay. Well, you should have told me, because I don't know how you knew.
Yeah, I don't know how I knew either.
Yeah. I'd assumed, and then it became clear when someone said, "Oh, the breakfast's on again." I was like, no, we haven't said anything about breakfast. Like, what? Maybe say there's no breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean, there being no breakfast was in no way an issue, because there's plenty of places to eat food. And I think it was nice to have that social element last year, though, of getting in for breakfast and sitting and chatting pre-show. But this comes to the way our show went this year, is that Saturday morning we wouldn't have had time to socialise anyway, because there may have been a mock. We won't name names.
We won't name names. Yes, we will. So Sam and Tech, so not that Sam Smith, and...
Oh, we're going for full names.
Full names.
Are you really cross with them?
And what is Tech's channel? Is it Planet Tech
Planet
still?
Tech, yeah.
Not just Tech. Okay, I'm Planet Tech. Did a collab for a pod racer mock. It was massive.
It was massive.
Just like a fridge.
Just like a fridge. That's such a random reference. No one's going to get that.
So we had quite a lot of Sam's mock with us in the car, because he overestimated what he could take on a train.
Yeah.
And so that meant that... So like on the way up, we were going, well, should we stop at the Old Trafford Centre and go to the new Lego store? It's like, well, no, we've got Sam's mock. We should just get it to the show. And then we can see about whether we want to go off and maybe go there later.
Yeah, and then the next morning, having set up on the Friday and not got there yet, we knew we'd need to get there early to help them.
Yes.
And so that socialising wasn't going to happen. But to be fair, that was the socialising. Like, we all worked as a team, got that mock ready. And a little bit stressful, but I quite enjoyed it. like I like a challenge like that. And I also like the teamwork. Like, we felt like a little family of...
Yes.
Like, this is everyone's mock to get ready. We're going to get this done.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing mock. Like,
it was really good success.
It turned out absolutely fine.
Yeah. For quite a while on the Sunday, Sam and Tech went off to look round.
Babysat it, did you?
So I babysat the mock with Paige, who also was actually
I'd say
babysitting the baby.
It's part of her
yes.
I think she's been heavily involved in the process.
One of the kids was going, is that Luke Skywalker? And Paige turned to me and went, is it?
That's hilarious, yeah. So do I know more about Star Wars than Paige does?
I don't know.
Quite possibly.
I think she's seen them all.
Oh, really? Okay. So I've just absorbed so much from watching these streams.
But watching the kids enjoy it was really fun. One kid was so it basically did a massive loop, but you couldn't get really behind the mock because we put chairs there and stuff. So the one kid was basically following it round the semicircle and then running back to try and catch it at the start again and just doing this.
That's
he had
hilarious.
His camera out. He thought he was filming it. His dad knew that he wasn't.
Aww.
He went, it's not even recording. Great, but so he was running out. So, you had some really great stuff like that.
Oh, the kids loved it.
Yeah.
So when I was there, this kid had been watching it obviously for a while, and his dad was trying to pull him away, and like it would do another loop, and he'd be still watching it, and it would do another loop, and the dad's just like dragged him, and I hear him go, "You're watching the same thing over and over again. Let's move on." Like kids just love repetition and something that moves and something they recognise, and some of them were like, it's not accurate. This person should have been winning, and that person shouldn't be winning. But like they loved it, and it was lovely, and it looked good. It was just a little bit ambitious, and lessons were learned, and fun was had, and it was fine. But that meant that I don't think I missed the breakfast at all. That morning.
We had enough to keep us occupied.
Yeah. And then when we went for breakfast the next morning, there was like a group of us that we had a little socialising session there. I just think it meant that we weren't really meeting newer people. Like sometimes when you sit down of a morning, it's whoever's there, and you make those new conversations. Whereas we were hanging out with people we knew, and that I would say is the biggest difference for us from the two shows. Last year, we were the first people from our friendship group essentially to display. We knew like Craigster and we like a couple of others, but not because we've done Swinton, but we were making new friends. Yeah. And it was a little bit like when you're making new friends, it's like, a little bit stressful. Like, am I coming across well? Yeah. You're less relaxed about it. Whereas this time we've got our buddies that we've displayed at several shows with, and you support each other, and it makes the time go faster. Although just talking to the public does that anyway. So yeah, it was nice to do that extra social element. I think it did also though mean that we were tireder because we went out of an evening, whereas before we'd be like, right, we're actually tired from the day. Yeah. We're not good for socialising with new people. We'll just go to bed. Whereas socialising with friends when you're tired, you can get away with, but then you push yourself a bit more. So it was definitely a bit more exhausting because of it, but therefore more fun. Yeah, because it was friend time.
You still meet new people. So next to us was Jim, who I've not seen before. I know he's done other shows, but he's Northern Brickworks,
and that was his first Bricktastic.
So you know, it was nice.
Yeah, you were chatting to him quite a bit actually. Yeah. So that was nice.
He was at one point suggesting we have little signs printed out. So he had Gundam, like mech roboty things.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah. And his suggestion was that he needed a sign that said they're not Transformers, and we needed a sign that said it's not Dreams.
Yeah. The number of kids that came up and said, "Oh, Lego Dreams." I'm like, no, it's Lego Elves. But I think that shows that Dreams definitely has got that Elves influence. That's why I kind of like it. It's not Elves, and it's not as good, but I appreciate that it's got that kind of influence. The kids were great again. The socialising was great. The space was massive, and that was the hardest part, is trying to get to see everything. I found that really tricky.
Also, we keep getting put in the naughty corner.
Well, is it the naughty corner?
We probably deserve to be in the naughty corner.
Well, yeah.
Which is fine.
Why do you see it as the naughty corner?
Because we're there.
Oh, okay.
Generally my belief. The problem is that the naughty corner keeps getting further away from the snacks.
Yeah.
So we need to sort that one out.
It was quite a walk to the snacks, but I mean, I didn't feel the need to snack too much, if I'm honest.
You keep complaining that I didn't get you any Haribo.
What?
Or lollipops.
Because you didn't love me enough to get me Haribo and lollipops.
Chocolate bars or crisps or whatever else I was eating.
Yeah. So how much did you have? Were you eating them between getting them and getting back to our stand?
So they had big packets of crisps. So when I was in there, I'd eat a few crisps and then
I didn't have any of those.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise you were snacking so much.
Yeah. I did. So we had Jim on one side of us, and then on the other side we had the minifig Who. And at some points, I'm not sure we should be next to the minifig Who, because like a number of times there were kids like pulling their dads away from the Doctor Who setup that the minifig Who has. And at one point, I could see this dad getting more and more annoyed. And he just went, "Look, I want to look at this stuff. just wait.
Yeah, because
So-
the ours is bright and
Yes.
it will attract a child.
Yeah.
I think it depended also which way they hit the Doctor Who stuff, because if they came from Armok to the Doctor Who stuff, then they were in the 1960s where they didn't necessarily know what was going on, whereas the newer Doctor Who stuff was the other end of the table.
I think for the young kids, they don't get Doctor
They just
Who.
don't care. Okay,
But yeah.
fair enough.
So it's always fun when you've got that two setups where, you know, you've got a bunch of stuff that the parents want to look at, and then you've got something bright and colourful that the kids want to look at, and it's just watching the kids yank the parents around. It's great fun.
Well, I think it's fun for us because we've not taken our kids with us. Like, we've left our kids at home, we don't have to worry about this stuff.
Yeah.
We're like, ha, you've got the issues, we don't this weekend. I do wonder about whether we would take our kids or not, because I think Leah would, she's like, I would spend one day looking at all the stuff, Mummy, and then I could play with all the brick pits the next day, or like, entertain myself. I think they would be okay. I think what it changes, though, is that element of, one, setup, how do you do the setup, because kids aren't allowed, and two, of an evening. Like, there were definitely kids at the evening meal, weren't there?
Yeah, there were.
But then going out with your friends, like, they don't want to hang out with the kids.
No.
And also it's quite a late, like, we were at the meal till gone 10.
Yes.
And our kids go to bed at 8, so
Yeah.
like trying to work that all out. But maybe at some point we'll do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the idea of not having to take them, but I want them to see what I see. That's the thing. So I'll just show them the videos. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
They seem to be more like Lego based. No, that sounds wrong. From official Lego. So having the fact that Stuart and Mike from the Lego house were over, and Freddie the designer.
Yeah.
That seemed to be quite a nice draw.
Do you want to explain to people more about who they are?
Stuart and Mike from the Lego house. I mean, I literally said it.
Yes.
Don't make me
As
say
in,
names.
But so they are
Stuart's
the master builders for the Lego house. So they curate all of.
Stuart's the master builder. Mike is the director of bricks and fans,
There you go.
which you'd know if you'd gone to Greg's talks.
Okay.
And
So
Freddie is the dreams designer.
yes. So then Freddie is the dreams designer, and so they had a massive Z blob and a desk next to it, and so
Yeah,
occasionally he would do signings and photo opportunities.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And when I was over there, one of the kids asked a question to the two from the Lego house. And it was such a great question, like, because you could see where it came from. And he said, if I wanted your job, what do I need to do at school to get it? And I really love that question, because you can see he's there. He wants to be working with Lego, and he's planning ahead. I thought that was amazing.
What was the answer?
They said, like, there's a lot of team working and communication needed. So yes, do like your STEM subjects and things for that, but actually concentrate on life skills kind of thing, which I thought was good. I think that there might have been more to it, but I was still
not paying attention.
I was really astounded by the question. I thought it was a really good question, and so I was just like stood there going, "Great question," and then I'm like, "Oh, I missed the start of the answer," but yeah.
So it's really nice that Lego sent the people, allowed the people. I don't know which way round it is. Like, did they say, we want to go, and Lego said, yeah, that's fine.
I
Or
think
did Lego go, we should send some people?
I think they said at one point that they like to get round to the AFO events, or the Lego events, and they can't go to all of them, so they pick like a different one each year, and they were really pleased that they were coming to Bricktastic this year. So I think it's a thing that is supported by Lego, but they also want to be doing. So it was really nice to see that element. That seemed slightly new. I mean, there was obviously always stuff from Lego, because I think the build the change type thing was there last year as well. So they're sending their programs to be represented, kind of thing. They're very much supporting the show, so it's nice, and it was a good show.
It was. What would you change?
What would I change? Ooh. Well, one thing we did change this year, or for this show, this isn't a comparison to last Bricktastic, but we've got very much into the habit of I will be recording videos and you'll be getting annoyed with how slow I walk past.
Yeah.
And we won't ever really chat about the mocks we're seeing. Whereas this year, we just went, right, let's go look at the mocks together. Like, sauntering around hand in hand, actually talking about the mocks, no cameras, nothing. And that was delightful. Like, it was really nice to discuss the Lego and experience it together. It did make it slightly harder to remember what I'd seen and to then film.
Right.
Because I really like to take the whole show. I don't like missing anyone's mocks and share it with those who can't make it to the event because I just feel like that's a nice thing to do. We've got loads of friends in other countries as well, so they definitely can't make it in. Well, they could if they really wanted to, but it's expensive. But I think what I'd like to see, and this is purely for logistics for me, is a nice clear table plan of what all the mocks are, and then I can tick them off after I've done them. I know that's impossible because the changes that need to be made last minute, it's just not going to be accurate. Yeah. But maybe I can do that for myself somehow.
Yeah, so in one of the things we did, we were talking to Kevin, he said that the number of people who pulled out kind of either last minute or after the size of the hall has been booked.
Yeah, I mean, he said it wasn't ridiculous numbers, but any is annoying because those costs are those costs, and he's just got to absorb them, and you're not bringing another person in for it, so it's annoying. But sometimes people's plans change. Yeah. But why is that his problem and not their problem, kind of thing? It's frustrating.
So near us, we had quite a number of tables.
Yeah, there was
some stuff moved around.
But they all you go to that show, you would not notice that at all. They're very good at plugging those gaps. Yeah. You put a brick pit in or a place at...
And so many people can actually spread their mock over an extra table. Yeah. Because Jim was next to us, but he wasn't meant to be next to us. So it was meant to be someone else next to us. But he just managed to spread his out over 2 tables, and it worked really well.
Yeah, it gave it a lot more space, and it stops that domino effect if one kind of gets... Certainly with Jim's, he had some that were built sort of very fragile, I think. So you don't want one hit and then all of them hit and then a big repair job. Yeah. The meal this year, top notch. No issues at all, apart from volume of mic. So being able to hear the discussions that were going on.
There's so many people there, either displaying or... Do volunteers go?
Volunteers, yeah.
So there was a huge number, and so, we ended up being quite far back from the speakers. Yeah.
We still had a nice time, but we just didn't really hear the content of the talk, which was a shame. But the bingo was great, the auction was... personally we don't have the funds to be spending, but they raised money. That's the important part. Yes. And the food all came at once, pretty much. Yeah. And it was
so instead of you going up and getting it this year, it was they bought a big tray of potatoes, a big tray of chicken, and a panache of vegetables.
Oh, the panache of vegetables. It had some panache.
Yeah. And so then you just passing them around and serving yourself.
Yeah, and it was lovely. Yeah. And so it meant that we were all kind of finished at the same time as well, so that you could do those activities. Yes. And that was nice, because I know they were frustrated last year. They'd planned activities and they just couldn't do them because of the food was definitely a debacle last year. But they learnt from that. Yeah. And that was definitely in no way the organisers' fault. That was a venue thing. Yes. I found it great. I had a really lovely time. There were so many people from the Lego community online, so social media side of things, that we chat to each week. They're coming to say hello, and that was nice. That gave it a nice edge to it as well. So it was good to catch up with a few people and meet lots of new faces. I would like next year, what I would change is I would make sure we have tokens, because I really love that idea of going around and putting tokens on builds you like. Right. Okay. But I think the issue is I would find it hard not to put a token on every single one. Right. And that kind of devalues your token,
do you go, I'm going to take 10 tokens and I choose my 10 best.
Yeah.
In which case, that's quite difficult because you've got to
You've
go around all of them,
Yeah.
work out the 10, and that's quite
Yeah.
an investment in time. Or do you just go with like 100 tokens, so you're like, I can put out as many as I want, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, because you're not trying to say, I like yours better than this person. You're trying to say, I like these. I appreciated seeing it. Thank
Yes.
you. That's kind of the point of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not a, you did the best thing
Yeah.
here. So, it's just nice seeing them appear on your box.
Yeah.
It's quite sweet.
It's only with that you don't know who left them.
You do if you're there at your mock. but-
Yes.
Or if you recognise, it's like Polar Bricks, his is a polar bear, so you know
Yes.
it's him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or if you leave a token that's branded, so AV Bricks had stickers,
Yeah, true.
although we didn't get one.
No, they don't like it.
We did get Flapjack, so can't complain.
True. Go with a bunch of cupcakes and just leave cupcakes at the ones you like.
Yeah.
You've not done enough baking for Lego shows.
I haven't done enough baking full stop. I've kind of lost my mojo for baking.
No.
It's all about the Lego at the moment. It'll get there. There's just a lot to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like from having been there a previous year, we were experts and we knew what we were doing and everything went smooth sailing and it was great. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Cool.
So one thing they do keep talking about is having set up on the Thursday and then having the Friday.
Oh, it's like an AFOL convention.
Yeah, so doing more events during that day as well as giving everyone a chance to look at it.
And I think that would be really fun. But I don't want it to happen because I can't do that and therefore I'd get massive amounts of FOMO.
Unless it happens to line up with our half term.
Which it's unlikely to because Kev's got the date that he likes and that's fine.
I don't know if Easter's later on in the year as our half term. I don't really understand half term.
No, I don't know. I think it's got to be like 6 weeks from the start of term, really. Right. Otherwise, the teachers get a bit.
Do they?
Yeah, it's hard work. Yeah. But if it happens, maybe we can make something happen. We could be up there. No, I've no idea how we would make it happen, to be fair.
No.
So, but it's an interesting idea. It would make it a bit more in line with some of the US conventions to do that.
Obviously, having the hall for another day increases the cost.
Yeah, and
so how do you do it? So obviously with Brickworld Chicago,
you're paying.
You pay so that you can go to those earlier days.
Yeah, and we'll let you know once we've been there whether it was worth doing.
Yeah,
but I think it sounds fun because we've got lots of lugs across the UK, but having one big where everyone comes together, I think is nice.
Yeah.
So we shall see. But I feel like it was definitely bigger and better than last year, and it was nice to see people that remembered us from last year. Like when we said, "Oh, this is the model we had last year." Oh yeah, we saw that. So like building up that relationship with. I mean, you're never going to remember everyone that comes through, but it was nice to have that. And I would certainly be signing up for 2025.
Yep.
I just don't know. Are we doing Coral Reef again? Yeah, Coral Reef.
Coral Reef 2.0.
Yeah. Bigger, better, scarier.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Sure.
Okay. And maybe like you could do Coral Reef and I could do some mocks on a table next to you.
Crazy.
Independent mocks.
Independent mocks?
It's not going to happen, is it? I'm not getting around to that.
Yeah, true.
Let's not promise too much.
Yeah. Okay. So, if you went, let us know how you found it. If you didn't go, how upset are you that you missed out? Because we will hopefully be putting out probably a couple of videos trying to show everything that's there. As we say, we like to show everything. But getting it into one video may be a challenge.
It'd be a long video, and I think splitting it will help. I have no idea how to split it, but I will split it.
Yeah. But let us know what you think of it all. And if you have any questions about doing it, whether you're thinking about doing it next year and just you're looking for a buddy to help, to kind of let you know what's going on, then let us know.
We'll be your buddy. Friend.
Okay. And on that note, We will see you next week for another exciting episode of the podcast.
Bye, friend.
Bye.
Buddy!